Hi, 7th graders. We're on lesson 9.2, which is on functions. And it starts on page 471. Our learning targets are evaluating functions and being able to state the domain and range of a function. So a function is a relationship that assigns exactly one output value for each input value. So this right here is an example of a function, and we would read it, the function of x equals 15x, or we could just say f of x equals 15x. So x is the input. We can input any number for x, and we will get an output, which is f of x, okay? But each value that you put in for x has only one output value. You cannot have more than one value with the same x. So what does this mean? So here's a function right here, f of x equals 2x plus 1. So for f of negative 3, so we would say find f of negative 3 if f of x equals 2x plus 1. So negative 3 is our x. So we are taking negative 3 and we are putting it in for our x into our function. So our function is 2x plus 1, and we're going to see what the value is with negative 3. So we would say f of negative 3 equals 2. So it's 2x, so 2 times negative 3 plus 1. And then we would solve. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 plus 1 equals negative 5. So f of negative 3 equals negative 5. Okay, f of 2, if f of x equals x minus 4, so we would write f of 2 equals 2 minus 4. See how I replaced a 2 into my x. So 2 minus 4, equals negative 2. So f of 2 equals negative 2. Pause me and do this one really fast. F of 6, if f of x equals 2x minus 8. So we would do f of 6 equals 2 times 6 minus 8. So f of 6 equals 2 times 6 is 12 minus 8. So f of 6 equals 4 for that function. Okay, if we did f of 6 into this function, we would obviously get a different answer. So whatever number that you're given for x, or to find, it always has to go with the function that it's going with. Okay, so when we have functions, we also have domains and ranges. So domain is a set of input values, and the range is a set of output values. So its range is different than the range when we are talking about mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, so all the numbers that you put in is the set of domain, or the domain set. All the numbers that come out of the function is the range. So these right here are examples of function tables. So here's our function, f of x equals x minus 7. And then these right here, all these x's, or all the numbers under x, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, negative 0, these are our domain. And then this is our function, and then these, the f of x, is going to be our range. Okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to take each number, each value of x, put it into our function, and then find the output value. Okay? So for f of negative 3, or if x equals negative 3, I'm going to take my function and I'm going to replace the x with the number given. So that would be negative 3 minus 7. Negative 3 minus 7, is not negative 4. 3 minus 7 would be negative 4. Negative 3 minus 7 would be negative 10. Okay, we do the same thing. -2 minus 7. And then we get -2 minus 7 is -9. Then we have -1 minus 7. And we get -8. And then we have 0 minus 7. And we have -7. And they're not lined up correct, all in a row. Okay, so then it says state the domain and range of the function. So domain would be -3, -2, -1, and 0. Range would be -10, -9, -8, -7. Okay, these are the domain. These are the numbers going into the function. These are the numbers coming out of a function. So kind of, you can think of it kind of as a machine. You put a number in, and then you get a different answer that comes out. One number in, one number out. Pause me if you feel comfortable enough to do both of these. Otherwise, watch me do one more and then do the last one. It's your choice. So we have f of x equals 4x. So here's our domain, -5, -3, 2, 5. So we would have 4 times -5. Way too big. Okay, and then we have -20. I wish it would come up as a smaller font. Okay, then we have -3. Oops, sorry, 4 times -3. So we have -12. And then we have 4 times 2. So we get 8. And then we have 4 times 5. Four times 5, not 45. And we get 20. Okay, so the domain is -5, -3, 2, and 5. The range would be -20, -12, 8, and 20. And you could write it just like this. Okay, for this one, we have our function is 2x plus 3. Our domain is -1, 2, 3, 5. So we have 2 times -1 plus 3. And then we have 2 times 2 plus 3. 2 times 3 plus 3. And then 2 times 5 plus 3. So we would have -2 times -1, so -2 plus 3 would be 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3 would be 7. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 3 is 9. Two times 5 is 10 plus 3 would be 13. Notice how our domain numbers are not in a row, or not in order. They're kind of random. So our y values, or our f of x output values, are kind of random as well. So we have domain is -1, 2, 3, 5. Range is 1, 7, 9, 13. All right, an air conditioner repair service charges $60 for a service call plus $30 per hour for labor. Write a function to represent the charge C for a service call with H hours of labor. How much would the charge be if there are 3 hours of labor? So let's forget this last question right now, and let's think about writing a function or an equation. So C, so we could write it, I'm going to rewrite this and call this a function instead of an equation. Okay, so we're going to write it as f of C. Actually, we're not. We are going to write it as C equals, so we're trying to find the charge. So that's going to be our C equals. We know that it's $60. No matter what, it's $60 for the call plus $30 per hour. So it's going to be $60 plus $30 per hour. So however many hours there are, you're going to multiply it by 30. Because H is our variable in our equation, okay, I'm rewriting this again. So here's our equation. This is how we would write it as a function. We would say f of h equals 60. We could actually write it with the variable first. 30h plus 60. So it's exactly the same. It's just saying however many hours there are, that's how we write it as a function. So for 3 hours of labor, it would be f of 3 equals 30 times 3 plus 60. So 30 times 3 is 90 plus 60. So 3 hours of labor then would be $150. And now all of a sudden it's nice and small when I want it big. So $150 because you're paying $30 per hour, so 30, 60, 90 plus the $60 service charge. Okay, try this one on your own. Tyree's bowling score is handicapped by 30 points, meaning that he receives an additional 30 points on his final score. Write a function that can be used to represent Tyree's final score S, given his base score B. What is his adjusted score if he bowled 185? So forget the last question. Write an equation. Write a function, so the exact same way that we did it up above, and then the bowling score if he bowled 100, or his adjusted bowling score if he bowls 185. Pause me and then come back and check your answer. So the equation then says that he receives an additional 30 points on his final score. So his final score is S equals, you take the bowling score and you add 30. So there's actually nothing multiplied to the B. So there's our equation. Because our variable inside or in the equation is B, we're going to write it as f of B equals B plus 30. If his bowling score is 185, so f of 185 equals 185 plus 30, which then equals 185 plus 15 equals 200 plus 15 more, which would be 30, would be 215. So his new adjusted score is 215. Okay, make sure you log into NICU and take the 9-2 NICU quiz. Have a wonderful weekend.